Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you find these videos useful, please like and subscribe. Give you a quick update on the wiring, so this will be part 3 I believe. Had some time off from it, I've been away working. So I've been over the diagram again. I've done a little bit more just to progress a bit more, but I thought I'd do a quick video. It's absolutely chucking it down right here now, so I don't know if you can hear that. I've got water coming in, got a block gutter, so I'm going to have to go up and clean that first, and then we'll talk you through the vehicle and do a few bits. Okay, so just take a quick look at the front side of the bulkhead. You see there's a few more wires added now. One thing I did notice with this fuse box is that I've got these insulated connectors and they will not actually fit on and go down when the insulation on. So you can see I've had to just cut the top part of the insulation off just so that it can slide down there. And still missing quite a few wires underneath. Got still a little bit more to go. Let's see, down there we've got oil pressure switch. I've wired up the fuel sender and the fuel light, and then let's go back onto the inside. So I've got wires there ready to run in the headlights, and then behind the clock here I'm just waiting on a switch. I was missing the green light for the oil pressure, so I ordered a new one of that, and I thought I'll order new of all. This inspection lamp plug-in, ordered a new one of them as well because the old one was in poor condition. These wires I need to trim back, but you can see how that's placed on top of the hand throttle cable, and I've made sure all the wires are long enough so that I can pull it out, tilt it back like this and essentially work on it. So we'll continue with that as well. Back half of the vehicle all finished, just got the connector plug to put on down there, all those wires, and then run them, continue them up. You can see there I've made a penetration for the grommet, just painted inside, a bit of red oxide, and then we'll get a top coat of paint, get the grommet fitted, and then can pull the wires through that. Okay, so there's not a whole lot I can show you with the wiring. I think I've gone over the testing of the bulbs, the switches, things like that. If you need more explanation, just let me know if there's anything you're stuck with. But this is going to be the wire from the switch on the dashboard down to the dip switch itself, and then from the dip switch we'll have 2 feeds going back up to the fuse box. But I just thought I'd show you quickly how I strip them. So I've got automatic wire strippers. You may also have something like this. Do the same job, set it up to the correct diameter, and even on your crimp tools you have here different wire diameters, and you can pull them off like that. So I'll do that, and then I'm using these insulated connectors. So that goes in like that. Red colour, it's a bit pink, but crimp that on, and then I give it a good pull just to make sure that is binding correctly. It's crimped well. Sometimes you get them that they'll pull straight out, the connector's not crimped very well. And then finally get the heat gun, and this is like a heat shrink wrap which will bind on that, give it a lot more grip, and then you can see this is insulated all the way down to there. I'll then pull this from the dash through the bulkhead, down the outside, through our grommet that I'm just waiting for the paint to dry to be able to insert, go in, and that'll go onto the switch. I've already tested which one this live feed needs to go onto, and it's as simple as that. So I'll pull this cable off, and then with the heat gun I just slowly turn the cable, heat it up. I can see it starting to shrink. You can see the gap on the back there. Blow that down, and there you can see that's got a tight hold on the insulation. one thing I mentioned about the heat guns is, you see I had my fingers here, and that's because if you put too much heat on the insulation, that can actually have a effect on its insulation properties. So you don't want to be getting it so hot that you're starting to melt it or affect its insulation. And then I'm putting this on before feeding it through, purely because if at a later stage I need to change the wire, I want to be able to pull these through the bulkhead without having to cut the wire, if you like. So leave this on, feed that through, make sure it fits through everywhere, and hopefully down the line that's going to pay off should someone need to do some work on it. Be a bit difficult to get through these grommets, and this one's so tight, when I add the other two wires from the switch, I may actually choose to feed the wire through and then put the connector on later on, but they're going to be short wires up to the fuse box, so if they need to be cut in the future, it's not too big a deal to replace it. I've got the cable here. Feed that through. Pick it up, and I'm just routing this with the other cables. I'll put a bit of slack on it now. And that's going to go down the front of the bulkhead here. Stick it in the bottom there. That's it coming through there. Then still need to add the grommet, but that's going to connect onto our switch. And then I'll pull the cable up tight along the bulkhead with all the others, and then I'll basically bring it here, cut it to length, and it's going to go onto this switch, onto that terminal behind the two red or red and black? Yeah, red and black. So I'm not too sure what else to tell you or show you. I could do a time lapse of it all, but I think it'd just get quite boring, be very long. It's not a slow process, not a fast process, you just got to be methodical. So the most important thing is that you have your drawing, you just keep following that, all the colours. It's going to be a lot easier to trace wires later on, should you have any problems. Once I get my new lights, then be able to fit them, get them connected up. Got a new panel light switch coming, so get that connected up. And then the only other thing I've ordered is on the original dashboard is another spare one I have. Is here you have an amps gauge, and that was when you're running off a dynamometer. Because I'm using an alternator, I'm not going to be using an amp gauge, so I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to put my temperature gauge. I've bought one, Lucas one, that's going to fit in there. And then it's still going to say amps here on the gauge, but the actual gauge is going to be showing my HT temperature. So that's going to fit in nicely. I'm not going to have any auxiliary gauges. I want to keep the dashboard looking as simple as possible. It's why I've gone for minimal switches. I'm going to go for these pull knob switches because I think they look the best and they're the most simple. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple of days get all the wiring finished. I've just got then fuel hoses to change, coolant hose to change. Need to paint the front panel, a few other panels for the vents, all that. I get the radiator mounted, and then hopefully do a start on it, make sure the engine starts, and then once we know that the engine starts, I'll do thermostat, water pump, oil change, gearbox oil change. Need new oil in the diffs. I can't remember, I think the seal's leaking on the front diff, so we're going to have to take a look at that. But yeah, it's getting quite close now. And of course we need the headlamps. Again, I had a suggestion from someone for the bulbs to use. I'll take a look at that, probably use them because they come highly recommended. We'll see how good they are, but we're not expecting anything amazing on a series Land Rover. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I don't think you've learned too much from it, but just a bit of a progress update. But yeah, please like and subscribe, and I'll bring you the next one pretty soon.